My father slept with my fiancée after toasting at our wedding rehearsal. I let them speak first at the ceremony. My name is Jason Cole Bennett. I'm 28 years old. And the night before my wedding, I discovered the two people I loved most were already celebrating without me. My fiancée, Samantha Lee Monroe, the woman I'd spent 6 years building a life with, was in bed with my father, Richard Cole Bennett, the same man who raised me, coached me, and toasted me in front of 65 people just hours before. He said I was the best thing he'd ever done. She said I was her forever. But that night I found her dress on the floor, his belt by the door, and her phone. It was still open in the MMB. She forgot to close the message thread. And my father? He forgot the guest house had thin walls. They thought I had no idea. They thought I'd say, I do. But when the officiant asked, does anyone object? I smiled and read their texts out loud. Now that you know how it ended, let me tell you how it began. This is the story of the night before everything changed. The vineyard was glowing, fairy lights wrapped around tree trunks, long tables stretched across the lawn with name tags tucked into linen napkins. The smell of rosemary, firewood, and wine drifted through the evening air like something out of a dream. It was perfect. Painfully, surgically perfect. Our rehearsal dinner had started just before sunset. 65 guests, all the people we loved and wanted by our side. Old high school friends, Samantha's college roommates, my childhood neighbors, aunts, uncles, my mom, my father, my fiancée, Samantha Lee Monroe, had planned every detail. The seating chart, the lighting, the music playlist that looped soft indie covers of 2000s pop songs. She was good at things like that. Creating memories that I was just happy to be outside, to be chosen, to be the guy she said yes to. I didn't see the signs, or maybe I did, but I ignored them. The tension between Samantha and my dad, Richard Cole Bennett, had been growing all year. It started subtly. He complimented her more than usual. She laughed at his jokes even when they weren't funny. They started taking long planning walks together without me to talk about wedding budgets, she said. But I trusted them both. He was my father. She was my fiancée. I wasn't supposed to question that. When dinner wrapped up and the wine really kicked in, people began clinking their glasses and standing for toasts. My best man, Connor James, gave a funny, heartfelt speech about our first semester in college and how I'd been a one-woman man since I met Samantha. Then it was my dad's turn. He stood slowly, glass of bourbon in one hand, jacket off, rolled sleeves. I remember the day Jason was born, he began. He came out with these clenched fists like he already had something to fight for. And over the years, he's never stopped fighting. For people, for work, for what's right. People nodded. A few clapped. But the thing I'm proudest of is that he grew into the kind of man I always wished I could have been. You're not just becoming my daughter-in-law. You're becoming part of my heart. Thank you for loving my son. And for being exactly what he needs. Samantha wiped her eyes. People stood. Applause erupted. My mom sniffled into a napkin. I stood too and hugged him. He held me tight. Too tight. Later that night, people trickled out to their cars, cabins, and suites. And just like that, the vineyard staff lit outdoor fire pits. Laughter and clinking glasses carried into the late hours. Samantha told me she needed a moment to herself. Said she wanted to take a walk, breathe some fresh air, clear her head before the biggest day of her life. I kissed her and said, "Take all the time you need. I'll be inside going over my vows." I waited an hour. Then 2. At first, I wasn't suspicious. She did this sometimes, disappeared into her own world when she was overwhelmed. I respected that, gave her space. But around midnight, I stepped out to look for her. At first, I wasn't suspicious. She did this sometimes, disappeared into her own world when she was overwhelmed. I respected that, gave her space. But around midnight, I stepped out to look for her. The porch light was off, but a soft glow leaked from the bathroom window. The closer I got, the faster my pulse ran. I wasn't ready to suspect anything, but my gut, the same gut that had ignored months of red flags, finally screamed, "Something is wrong." The guest house had a small wraparound porch with curtains left open. I didn't peek through. I didn't need to, because on the small table by the side door was her phone. Unlocked. Open. I picked it up. The last open thread was with a contact saved as RC or work notes. But it wasn't about work. You still taste like champagne. You coming back tonight? I'll say I went on a walk. He's inside doing his vows, lol. I want you on top this time. You still have the scratch I gave you? Yes. Feels good when I touch it. Don't be loud this time. I think someone almost heard last week. My ears rang. I clicked into the photo gallery, the recently deleted folder, and there they were, not fully naked, but close. Her in the guest house mirror, kissing someone whose hands were unmistakably my father's. The watch, the ring, the scar on his knuckle from a boating accident we both remembered. And then I heard it through the wall, muffled, rhythmic, unmistakable, laughter, moaning. Then a voice. He's gonna call you his wife tomorrow. Can you believe that? Samantha's voice. Only if I don't say your name by mistake. I dropped the phone, stumbled back. I wanted to scream, wanted to throw open the door, but I didn't. I wiped the phone clean, left it exactly where I found it, and walked back through the vineyard. Not because I didn't feel anything, but because I needed to feel everything. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed rehearsing my own version of vows, words not meant for forever, but for goodbye. I printed screenshots, archived the texts. I copied everything to a USB and left it in the inside pocket of my jacket. And when the sun came up, I buttoned my shirt, put on my tie, and practiced my smile in the mirror. They thought I had no idea. I woke up before the sun. The vineyard was still asleep. No birds, no footsteps, just wind rustling through olive trees. I sat at the edge of the bed, fully dressed in my white undershirt and dress pants, staring at the jacket hanging on the back of the door, the one that held every piece of evidence I needed. The phone, the screenshots, the backup USB, the printed texts. Everything was ready. I checked my watch. 6:12 a.m. Our ceremony was scheduled for 4 p.m. 10 hours. I had 10 hours to walk down the aisle and pretend like nothing was wrong. Around 9, Samantha came to my room with her makeup team. She knocked like nothing had happened, walked in like nothing was different. "Morning, babe," she said brightly. "I'm gonna get ready in here if that's okay. The girls are taking over the suite." "Of course," I said. "Whatever you need." She kissed my cheek and sat in front of the mirror. No guilt, no tension in her shoulders, not even a tremble in her hands. She asked me to help zip up her robe. I did. Steady fingers. She looked at me in the mirror and smiled. "We're really doing it, huh?" I nodded. "Yeah." She turned back to her concealer like nothing was wrong. I stepped outside and called my mom. Joanna Bennett, the only person in the world who would notice something was off before anyone else did. She answered on the second ring. "Jason, is everything okay?" I paused. "Yeah, just wanted to say thank you. For everything." "You're scaring me," she laughed. "What's going on?" "Nothing, just I love you, that's all." Silence. "I love you too, sweetheart." "Can you do me a favor?" I asked. "Of course. Just sit in the front row. And whatever happens today, don't say anything. Don't stop me. Just let it happen." By 3 p.m., guests started arriving. The vineyard looked even more beautiful than the night before. White chairs lined the aisle, live string quartet playing acoustic Coldplay covers, champagne flutes glinting in the sun. I wore a classic black tuxedo with a charcoal tie, Samantha's choice, her favorite cologne. Cufflinks from my father. Fitting. Every detail of my outfit was selected by the two people who'd ruined me. So I wore it all. Every thread, every scent, every button. Let them admire the mask, I told myself, because the man underneath is about to ruin the ending. Connor walked me to the altar. "You good?" he whispered. "Better than I've ever been," I said. He blinked but didn't push. The officiant, Reverend Hale, gave me a nod. The crowd stood, the music shifted, and there she was, Samantha Lee Monroe. Hair curled, veil long, makeup perfect, She walked toward me like a dream, like a woman with nothing to hide, like she hadn't just slept with my father 12 hours ago. Behind her, Richard Cole Bennett stood tall, hands clasped, a proud smile on his face. He didn't know that every second ticking forward was one step closer to his downfall. We stood under a wooden arch, draped in white flowers. Samantha held my hands tightly, too tightly, like she was trying to anchor herself to something real. Reverend Hale welcomed everyone, said a few words about love, about commitment, about loyalty. Each word hit like a gunshot. Then he looked at us and said, "Samantha, would you like to begin your vows?" She nodded, turned to me, and pulled out a small folded note. "Jason, from the moment we met, I knew you were my safe place. You've seen me at my worst and still chose to stand by me. I can't wait to build a home with you, raise a family with you, and grow old knowing I never have to look back." I tuned her out after that, because I had already looked back, and I saw the truth. Reverend Hale smiled. "Jason, would you like to share your vows?" I shook my head. "Actually, before I do, I think there's something we need to ask first." He tilted his head. "Sorry?" "You know, the part you say before the vows." He blinked. "Ah, yes, right, the traditional line." He turned to the crowd. "If there is anyone present who knows of any reason why this couple should not be joined in holy matrimony, speak now, or forever hold your peace." I raised my hand. Gasps, confused murmurs. Samantha froze. "Jason," she whispered. "You wanted a perfect day," I said softly. "Let's make it unforgettable." I pulled out a folded sheet of paper from my jacket, held it to the mic. "March 15th, 11:07 p.m. I want you on top this time. He's writing his vows, LOL. March 22nd, 10:48 p.m. You taste like champagne again. Same spot next week? April 2nd. I can't believe we did it in the guest house. I came so hard." The crowd erupted. People gasped. Chairs scraped. My mother covered her mouth. Samantha collapsed into her bouquet. "Jason, please." "No," I said. "Let me finish." I held up the photo. "This is you, in the mirror, wearing his shirt, kissing him." I turned to my father. "And you, Richard Cole Bennett, the man who taught me how to throw a baseball, how to shake a hand, how to look someone in the eye. You are filth." He tried to speak. I cut him off. "You gave a toast last night. Now it's my turn. You stood there and told everyone you were proud of me, that I was everything you wished you could have been. But I am proud of who I am, and I would never, never do what you did to your own son. This was supposed to be the beginning of my life, and in a way it still is. Because now, I get to begin without either of you." I dropped the mic, turned, and walked down the aisle alone. Connor caught up to me at the gate. "Holy, Jason, are you okay?" "No," I said, "but I will be." Guests poured out behind me, confused, shaken, whispering. I didn't stop, just walked toward the parking lot, each step heavier than the last. But my hands? They were lighter than they'd felt in years. I didn't drive. I walked. Down the gravel road that led out of the vineyard, jacket slung over my shoulder, dress shoes crunching dust. Every breath hurt, but every step felt lighter. People yelled behind me. Some tried calling my name, but I didn't turn around. When I finally reached the parking lot at the edge of the property, I sat on the low wooden fence and stared at the hills. Sunlight warmed my face. Birds chirped in the trees. The world didn't care what had just happened. And somehow, that made it easier. 10 minutes later, a soft hand touched my shoulder. I didn't have to look to know it was her, Joanna Bennett, my mother. She sat beside me in silence, her sundress brushing against mine. "You handled that better than I would have," she finally said. "I almost didn't," I replied. "I wanted to run up there, grab you, scream at both of them." "Why didn't you?" She reached into her purse and pulled out a folded piece of paper. It was the note I left on her breakfast tray that morning. "Let me handle this, please. Whatever happens, don't stop me." She held it in her lap. "You earned this moment, Jason. It was brutal and beautiful." I didn't realize I was crying until I felt her hand wipe my cheek. My phone buzzed. One missed call. Samantha Lee Monroe. 2 missed calls, Dad. Then a new voicemail. Jason, please. You don't understand. I was drunk. It was a mistake. Your dad. He's been manipulating me. Please, call me back. Then a text from my father. You don't know what she's capable of. She came on to me. You're making a mistake. I didn't respond. I didn't delete them either. I wanted to keep them, to remind myself how quickly people rewrite truth when they get caught. By the next morning, the entire wedding party had cleared out. Samantha stayed in a hotel nearby. Richard disappeared. Didn't even check out through the front desk. Classic. Connor told me guests had been whispering nonstop after I left. Some people were shocked. Others, not so much. Apparently, one of Samantha's bridesmaids caught her and my dad laughing in a hallway, alone 2 nights before the rehearsal. Another guest had seen them walking too close during the catering meeting weeks prior. We thought it was weird, she said. But who would cheat with their fiancé's dad? 3 days later, I agreed to meet Samantha. Not for closure, not to forgive, just to say things out loud. We met at a cafe halfway between our old apartment and the hotel where she was staying. She walked in wearing a hoodie, sunglasses, and no makeup. For the first time in years, she looked like a stranger. Jason, she started. No, I said. I'm going first. I laid a sealed manila envelope on the table. Inside, a copy of the canceled marriage license, a termination of joint lease, a notarized letter declaring property division. I don't want your stuff, I said. I don't want your apology, I just want you gone. She started crying. He told me he was going to tell you, she whispered. Said it would destroy you. Said I was too good for you. And you believed him. She shook her head. No, I just wanted someone who looked at me like I was a prize. You always saw me like a person. That should have hurt more. But it didn't. Because I finally realized I didn't want someone who wanted to feel shiny. I wanted someone who could sit in the dark with me and still hold my hand. As I stood up to leave, she grabbed my wrist. Do you hate me? I looked her dead in the eyes. No, but I don't respect you, and I'd rather be hated than pitied. I walked out and left her sobbing into her untouched cup of coffee. I never saw him face to face after the wedding. He sent an email, 3 paragraphs of half blame, half denial, no subject line. I replied with 1 word, blocked. He tried through my uncle, through my mom, even wrote a letter. I shredded it without reading. He died to me the moment he chose himself over his son. A month later, I visited my family cabin upstate. I pulled his nameplate off the wall and replaced it with mine, tossed his old jacket into the fire pit, burned the watch he gave me on my 21st birthday. People said I should forgive, that he was still my father. But I think people confuse father with man who got someone pregnant. I moved cities, new job, new apartment, new friends. No more shared bank accounts, no more memory-laced furniture. Just space, real space. Therapy helped. So did boxing, and hiking alone with no cell service. 6 months after the wedding that wasn't, I ran into Julia Campbell at a bookstore. We'd gone to school together, dated for 3 months. She was kind, smart, completely wrong for me back then. But now, she didn't ask me what happened. She just said, "You look like someone who stopped carrying everyone else's guilt." 1 year later, I got a letter in the mail. Samantha was getting married to a dentist. I laughed, not because she was moving on, but because she included a sticky note that said, "I hope you're happy. For real this time." I didn't RSVP. I just slipped the note into my journal and wrote below it, "I already was." In my new apartment, there's a picture frame on the shelf. Inside is a single word printed in black ink. Closure. Nothing else. Just that. Because sometimes revenge isn't about what you do to others. It's about what you refuse to carry forward. Not every story ends in fire. Some just fade like breath on a mirror. You see it, you feel it, then it's gone. Not every story ends in fire. Some just fade like breath on a mirror. You see it, you feel it, then it's gone. I went back, not because I missed it, but because I needed to stand where I once broke. The vineyard looked the same. The same arch, the same chairs, same gravel path I walked away on in a suit that didn't belong to the man I'd become. I stood under that archway again, alone, and said nothing, because silence was finally enough. I published something, not a tell-all, not a diary of betrayal, a short book, just called Objection, a reflection on loyalty, boundaries, and what it means to rebuild after the people closest to you burn down the home you made together. It didn't sell much, but I didn't care, because it helped one person, me. Samantha never reached out again, neither did Richard. And I'm glad. Some stories don't need sequels, they need endings. Today, when I sit at dinner with people I care about, real friends, not just guests at a pretty event, I smile. Because they don't know me from that day. They know me from after. From the quiet. From the rebuilding. From the part of the story no one applauds. The part where I learned to breathe again. You can survive betrayal. You can even forgive it if you want. But the greatest revenge isn't punishment. It's peace.